You are now listening to Tuff Tiger Talk. Flash Report.
What's up, Tuff Tiger Nation? You're now rocking with Tuff Tiger Talk. Big ups to all the Tuff Tiger diehard family members out there on this edition of Tuff Tiger Talk, coming at you middle of the week with some information breaking down the LSU versus Texas A&M matchup, plus the injury report and other news, notes, and items, and all things LSU football. Without further ado, I'm going to ask you guys, if you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and feel free to share Tuff Tiger Talk podcast. Share Tuff Tiger Talk across the web. Let's get into some news, notes, and items. Racey McMath is out for the Texas A&M matchup. Stingley likely to return for the Texas A&M matchup. LSU will be without starting quarterback Miles Brennan against Texas A&M on Saturday in College Station. Now, while Brennan now missing the past 3 games, expected to miss the remaining games with an injury that is likely turned into a season-ending one. Now, the Tigers are hoping not to lose any more starters ahead of the game against the Aggies, Ole Miss, and Florida, as well as the potential for a rescheduled game against Alabama. LSU cornerback Darius Stingley Jr. was injured against Arkansas while returning that punt, and he didn't return to the game after that. Now, on Monday, Coach O did say Stingley will return to practice and would likely need a short window this week to get the green light to play on Saturday. Stingley will practice Monday in the gold jersey. Orgeron said he's not been cleared yet. Now, Stingley finished with 2 tackles and a tackle for a loss while returning 3 punts for 5 yards. He was replaced by Coy Moore, while Cordell Flott, Jay Ward, and Dwight McGlothern got snaps at the cornerback, giving Eli Ricks, the team's other starting quarterback, was ejected in the game for targeting. Now, Ricks will be back against the Aggies, given this ejection happened in the first half of the win at Arkansas, while Stingley is expected to play. The Tigers will certainly have to continue to lean on players like Flott, Ward, and McGlothern moving into the season. Now, Ward had the biggest moments the past week in coming with that timely third down stop in the final minutes before blocking that game-time field goal attempt on the following play, which helped secure that 27-24 win. Now, the Tigers leaned on Racey McMath. He had 6 targets before he suffered that hamstring injury on a deep ball down the sidelines. He didn't return the game, finished with 3 catches for 48 yards and that big touchdown. Bad news is McMath is not expected to play against the Aggies on Saturday, a game while the Tigers already is listed as 14-point underdogs. So we'll see how that shakes in the end. But Trey Palmer, he traveled to Arkansas but was not dressed out for the game. Coach O said he believed that starting wide receiver Terrace Marshall, LSU would turn to players like Keyshawn Boot, Coy Moore, Jare Jenkins, and Jontre Kirkland. And Boot and Jenkins both had 3 catches against the Razorbacks, while Jenkins hauling in the game winner. Kirkland had 1 catch for 9 yards, while Moore saw time at receiver and on special teams in the return game. So that's what the injury report looks like moving ahead against Texas A&M. Now, LSU hopes to slow down Kelly Mond and the number 5 ranked Texas Aggies. Now, let's go over this. A year after steamrolling through all the challenges and winning the national championship with a perfect record, LSU Tigers find themselves perhaps playing a role to spoiler in this strange and disjointed 2020 season. The Tigers are 3-3. They will travel to College Station, Texas, to face Texas A&M, who's ranked number 5th in the nation. They're 5-1. Now, the Aggies have been out of action for a while. That the last time they won was a 48-3 win at South Carolina back on November the 7th. That was the last time they played. So LSU this past weekend against Arkansas, Texas A&M will be playing its first game in roughly 3 weeks due to the C-19 issue. Now, head coach Jimbo Fisher's offense is still led by quarterback Kelly Mond. He's a senior. He's thrown for 1,468 yards and 16 touchdowns against only 2 interceptions. Sophomore running back Isaiah Spiller is averaging over 100 yards rushing per contest, 6.2 yards per carry. He has 5 touchdowns in 2020. Another running back, Giannis Smith, has been Texas A&M's leading receiver. He has 26 catches for 312 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then tight end Jalen Windemeyer has 28 catches for 311 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, Kellen Mond is a good player. He got a strong offensive line, said Coach O. Last year, we put some pressure on him. We're going to have to do just the same. But you know what's good about this game is that we could put pressure on with the 4-man rush. I feel comfortable rushing 4 and playing coverage. That's your best defense. Now, if we have to blitz them, we'll have to put some pressure on them. Bo has a bunch of blitzes, but I think the first thing that we need to do is be able to rush with 4. That's Coach O. Kellen Mond is playing better. They're protecting them. Only 2 sacks. Then you got to look at the defense. They got the number 1 defense in the SEC. They're tough against the run. They have a defensive coordinator that knows how to dial up blitzes, and they can play the 4-3. They can play the 3-4. The defensive line is playing well as well. I just think they're playing overall good football, and they improved almost in every area since last year, according to Coach O. It will be certainly a big test for the true freshman T.J. Finley, who certainly delivered more positive than negative during the first 3 starts in his career. The 6'6" Ponchatoula native targeted 8 different receivers during the Tigers' 27-24 win over Arkansas. But it would be a rainy, sloppy night for the Tigers and the Aggies. The game is scheduled to start for 6 p.m. on ESPN. So very big matchup this season for the Tigers, getting ready for the Texas A&M Aggies. We're 3-3. The defense starting to look a little better. T.J. Finley gaining ground in the offense, and you've seen T.D. Price was able to get 100 yards rushing. Can we sustain that success? Because all we're looking for right now is respectability finishing out the rest of the season. This Coach O on LSU against Texas
They
A&M.
had the will to win the whole game. It was a tough, hard-fought battle. Give credit to Arkansas. Excellent game. Here's some of the things that we did very well that we said we have to do well going into the game. Control the time of possession. We had the ball for almost 42 minutes. Outstanding job by Coach Hensminger calling plays and managing the game. We were 12 of 23 on third down. There was 0 of 10. That was a big part of the football game. TJ, I thought, played a good game. He had no turnovers, had that game-winning throw at the end. Nobody was open. He executed his scramble rules. Jared Jenkins got open. What a great play by him. Ty Davis-Price had one of his best games, over 100 yards rushing, brought some physicality to the game. Exactly what we wanted. We wanted to be able to control the line of scrimmage, and it was a big part of his running. I thought our O-line did a good job. He gave up no sacks. I thought Jared Jenkins had one of his best games. On defense, we had a good plan versus their hurry-up offense. We deferred. We gave them the ball. We went 3 and out. That was big for us to get lined up, get our cleats in the grass. We had a simple game plan, and we let our guys play. Again, I said there was 0 of 10 on third down. Jabril Cox's interception, obviously a game-winning play there. Andre Anthony had his best game. The young players had to step up with the cornerbacks getting hurt. I thought our young secondary did a lot of good things. Jay Ward's stop on third down was a phenomenal play. Special teams, Zach had a great game, 5 punts inside the 10-yard line. The difference in the game, the field position, and again, the blocked field goal by our special teams at the end. Texas A&M, real good football team, going on the road, well-coached team. Kellen Mond's a good player. They got a strong offensive line. Kenyon Green is a guy we recruited, probably one of the best guards in the SEC, if not the country. They have the number 1 defense in the SEC. I think they're 12th in the country in rushing defense. Very tough, very solid football team, but we're going to be ready for the challenge. It's going to be kind of a short week. Our players are going to go home for Thanksgiving. We have an early practice on Thursday morning, then come back on Friday and get ready to go to Texas A&M. Any questions?
Hey, Ed, how often this year, I mean, in comparison to last year, do offenses try and, run those rub routes, picking your secondary? It seems like y'all got better at that against Arkansas. Is that something people have kind of honed in on?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. When you're playing man coverage, you're going to get that. And Bo's worked very hard against, some of our defenses are part man, part zone. It all depends on the formation. But when you get a slot like that and you get 2 guys rubbing you, it's going to be hard. And we got better at it. We gave the first one the touchdowns, the rub route. You got to put them on different levels. You got to make adjustments and maybe help with a safety on top.
And it seems like Micah Baskerville played well in those situations too. I mean, week to week, has he kind of earned his spot there? And what did you see from him in Arkansas?
Yeah, he's able to key and diagnose. Michael was the 5A player of the year at Evangel High School. That's why I recruited him. An excellent player in high school. When he first came here, was having a good year. As a freshman, showed us that he can key and diagnose. He fits in well in Coach Pelini's scheme. He gets to the football. He's a tremendous young man.
Hey, Coach. Paul Boran from Cox Sports Television. We always hear the expression that losing hurts worse than winning feels good. But I imagine after 3 weeks, winning felt pretty good on Saturday.
Yeah, it did. I was excited for the coaching staff. I was excited for our players, our team, the LSU fans. And, again, it took everything we had to beat Arkansas, and we did it. And hopefully it's a springboard for us to have a great end to the season and start with Texas A&M.
Hey, Coach. Shay Dixon with 24/7. You said before the season you thought Andre Anthony would be more of a natural fit playing in a 4-3 end. Now he's got, up there in the D-line lead in sacks and tackles. What's sort of been key for him to settle in and now play like he's playing?
Playing on the edge, you want your best pass rusher at the right end. Him and BJ play that right end position. He gets a lot of one-on-ones with the offensive tackle coming on the blind side. He's got a nice, what he calls a double hand swipe. One of the tackles for loss, we had a nice stunt on. It was a triple. He was coming around. We ran right into the mesh point and the quarterback. So I think the attack and defensive line is what you're seeing instead of sitting back and reading, getting in the backfield, making plays, and he's perfect for that.
That's Coach O chiming with his thoughts on the game. Big ups to Coach O. This was a very important win against the Arkansas Razorbacks. They fought through as a young team and were able to get the win, even making several plays along the way to help the Tigers seal the deal. And like the coach spoke about, a springboard. Last year's matchup against Texas to start the season off was a springboard for an exceptional year for LSU football. This year, with so many of the opt-outs, dealing with C-19, it's been a crazy, mad year. Of course, the injuries started off with Miles Brennan and several other players. In the end, LSU fought through so much adversity. Terrible loss to Auburn was probably the worst point of this season. I don't anticipate us falling or hitting the bottom of the barrel or at the bottom of the pit as hard as we hit against the Auburn team. That was just awful. But the team is young and they're finding a way to win. And by all accounts, Texas A&M coming to this thing, last time we've been up there, we lost in 7 overtime. Kind of weird affair. I thought that the referees made several really terrible bad calls in that matchup against LSU to prolong that 7 overtime situation. But this time around, it's going to be tough. This team is tough. They're one of the top teams in the SEC. They only have 1 loss on the year. But the thing is, they haven't played since November the 7th. Perhaps we can use that rust to kind of sneak in there and kind of rattle them a little bit and take them by surprise. So hopefully keep the turnovers down. We run the ball effectively and control the clock. Defense fires off and gets Kelly Mond on the ground. Our secondary, hopefully we can prevent the deep ball strikes that hurt us so often. And hopefully, and we've been seeing a lot of great progression from the Tiger defense. Let's keep that going, man, moving forward. This could be a massive win for the young LSU team, to their confidence and everything going into the season and righting the wrong of this season. We can salvage a lot of it with several wins going into the rest of the season and into a pretty good recruiting class in 2021. Go Tigers. Let's get the win against Kelly Mond and the Aggies. Let's aggravate the Aggies. How about that? Hashtag aggravate the Aggies. Go Tigers. All right, let's move to the final port for this episode of Tough Tiger Talk. I'm going to give you an update on that's Joey Burrow. That's right, update on Joey B and his recovery timeline. Sounds like he could miss up to a year due to the injury to Bengals, so hopefully he'll be back sooner than that. Of course, a lot of people seen the horrific injury that occurred to Joey B in the matchup this past weekend. Today, we learned that the Bengals quarterback suffered an ACL, MCL, and other structural damage to that left knee and loss against Washington. While not catastrophic, seen Alex Smith happen to him. It took him 2 full years to recover from that. Burrow injury has a timeline of 9 to 12 months to recover. That will put his status for the 2020 season in serious jeopardy since we've already almost into December. So you're looking at possibly another year, just over a year before Joey B can make it back. He's going to have to learn how to walk and everything. So this is tweeted by Adam Schefter. These type of knee injuries like the one Joey Burrow suffered usually sideline players anywhere from 9 to 12 months, though each person heals and rehabs differently. But no matter how quickly Burrow does or doesn't recover, next year's status is now a question. You have to look at that. Shortly after the news of Burrow's full injury diagnosis came out, Bengals head coach Zach Taylor met with the media and told him that Burrow could be ready for the start of next season. Taylor does believe the franchise QB will play. So that's a bit of the injury news as far as Joey Burrow is concerned. 9 to 12 months, according to Adam Schefter. And perhaps, according to his head coach, he's saying that he could be back by next year. We'll have to see. But prayers to Joey B. That was a horrific injury. We love and always look out for our Tiger, our family members that make it into the NFL. Even if they don't play for the Saints, we still love Joey B. and wish the world and success for him and a quick recovery, a speedy and safe recovery for Joey Burrow. That'll do it for Tuff Tiger Talk this edition. I'd like to thank all you guys for chiming in. Tuff Tiger Talk, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. And also, please feel free to share the show on social media and where other Tiger fans exist or where they gather. Feel free to share the show with all the Tuff Tiger family members that you know and help us grow. I'm Big Q. Peace and Gold Tigers.
Subscribe to the Tuff Tiger Talk channel and stay up to date for all things LSU football.